Hello, we welcome you to the talk Expanded Theater, VR and Immersive Dramaturgies, held within the framework of the RealMix zero point 0.5 Festival, part of the Art, Science and Technology program of Artes. This program stands out for the recognition and promotion of technological creation and experimentation, as well as fostering innovation in the field of immersive realities through projects of virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. For this edition, we are pleased to have the support of Culture Hub from New York, which is a global art and technology community that was born out of decades of collaboration between La Mama and Seoul Institute of the Arts, Korea's first contemporary performing arts school. Since its founding in 2009, Culture Hub has grown into a global network with studios in New York, Los Angeles, Korea, Indonesia, and Italy, providing connected environments for artists to critically examine our evolving relationships to technology. This talk is presented in collaboration with three very special guests that we have today. One of them is Krzysztof Garbaczewski, a renowned Polish theater director and founder of the Dream Adoption Society, an artistic collective based in Warsaw that focuses on virtual and augmented reality within the context of theater, performance, and contemporary art. Their work explores new technologies to create immersive and performative experiences. Rébecca Pierrot holds a master's degree in the theater and performing arts from University Paul Valéry Montpellier III under the supervision of Didier Plassard. She dedicated both her first and second year to the work of the Polish director Christian Lupa. Rébecca is a member of Dream Adoption Society and has worked as dramaturg on several performances directed by Krzysztof Garbaczewski. Billy Clark is the artistic director of Culture Hub and has overseen the development of Culture Hub artistic education and community programs since 2009. A graduate of the experimental theater wing at New York University, Billy has been a performer, director, creative producer, and designer in the New York City downtown art scene from over 2,000 years. Yeah, 25 years, not 2,000 years. Sorry, Billy. You will be really, really old. Sorry. I'm so happy to
It
have you
is.
today here to this talk. Um, the idea will be to talk a little bit about VR, theater, and expanded theater. So I would love to start directing this question to Krzysztof and Rébecca. So the idea will be if you can tell us about your work in the field of expanded and immersive theater.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Carol, for this introduction. Hello, and yeah, we are working on this field for quite a time right now. Starting from let's say more traditional form of theater, we were exploring the possibilities of media on the stage using a lot of streamings, like local streamings, trying to investigate the so-called borders of the theater and trying to expand them and see how the technology can influence this expansion. And in general, how it's influencing all the process and our being in the world, which is so much technological world. And for the last almost 10 years, with the like a new expansion of VR technologies, we started to move deeper into that field and creating, trying to integrate the virtual reality and augmented reality into theater and just experiment with that and ask questions in the last 2-3 years we started to work more close with Culture Hub and with Billy. We made very significant project for us, Books of Jacob, let's say Books of Jacob 1, which was like a project that was happening at La Mama in New York, using the like blending the virtual scenography, blending the virtual environment into the actor's performance. And after that, like a year after, we managed to make another iteration of that project, another part of that project that started to use the virtual reality technology as and its possibility of networking global communities. So with the help and tools in Culture Hub, we managed to connect 6 countries together, like US, Poland, Greece, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and Serbia. And we did this project in like a it's like a theater piece that happened simultaneously in all those 6 countries on 6 stages, and all the performers were sharing the common virtual reality layer, and it started to be really fascinating to work with using these VR technologies in such a way, so since that time we are trying to dive deeper into these this like spectrum of possible tools, trying to ask deeper how to build more connection between actors and some of the traditional tools of the theater into the virtual environments, using avatars, and also recently more and more artificial intelligence, how this technology can be part of the creative process. We, since like last year, we did some projects. Also, Rébecca was writing and creating dramaturgy using the AI. We reconstructed some old Polish like drama that was lost during the World War II with the AI and some other ideas like that. Our recent project Flatland, it's a theater piece, but it also involves VR, and there we use AI to create like a recognition technology, like a movement recognition, motion capture through AI, and yeah, and these are all kind of tools that we try to experiment with them and develop them into some kind of significant tool for performers and artists to create together. Like to add
Thank you, Krzysztof. Rébecca, do you want to add something maybe about that process of like doing dramaturgy and working with the AI tools? Because this is like a really new thing in the field of theater nowadays.
When I began to work with Krzysztof, it was like 3 years ago now, and it was inside the digital performance network that I experimented the new technology and the dramaturgy for the new technologies. And the Digital Performance Network is this company where we are creating some shows with other countries, and here it was to think about how work with other people on the same show, but to give some place for each country to express themselves. So it was an experimentation without AI for that case, but it's also dramaturgy and new technology because of DR. It was about to create like Krzysztof called it symphony, and it's a very good term to describe it, how to create a common music with some place for each person to breathe. So for me, it's really linked like a tectonic plates where we can change all part of the text and adapt it. Is a really moving material, and I think dramaturgy with new technologies is really linked to flexibility and to a comprehension of a living material. The text is always moving. So it's like a short description of the work with dramaturgy and new technologies for me here. And about AI, yes, it was really completely new for me because to be honest, I'm really not a technology person, and like completely new in this field, but working with Krzysztof, like
Now I have this additional like a cybernetic arm, like implants, and I'm like sleeping with VR on my head. So
that is really interesting that I'm not a person like who is linked to that normally, because I went there with completely like. I was open to that, and I began something with that. And my first work with AI, it was with this play Mickiewicz, so called Humanity is Madness. And Krzysztof said, "Okay, I want to reconstruct this play completely with AI." This play was never wrote, and it was we just have some name of characters, a short description for each characters, and that's all, and the title. So it really fast appeared that it's not interesting to reconstruct a play and to in the style, writing style of Mickiewicz is completely useless and not interesting, I think, and Krzysztof also was okay with that. So what was interesting, it was the process of how the dialogue between AI and the dramaturg, like a description of a journey between a human and a robot, to try to understand something which never appeared before. This text isn't there, and we will never know what is this text, but we can just imagine which roads Mickiewicz could take in this process. And so talking with the machine, it was like understand who is a little bit this machine, and what relation a human and a machine can have, and what is the language of the machine. So it's like it was like a meta project at the end. it was the reflection of our contemporary society with this AI who appears, and the place of the language, the place of the text, the writing text, and also a kind of dialogue with the other side, because Mickiewicz is dead. So for me, it was like a little bit a bridge. AI was a little bit bridged for me to get with this other side. So at the end, it was a little trinity for me. It was Mickiewicz, Garbaczewski, and AI, and how those trinities dialoguing.
Let me just add that Witkiewicz, he's a Polish author, like an artist, actually mostly. I recently heard that is mostly known in the world for his photography, but he was also a painter, like a very significant artist, Polish artist from the beginning of first half of 20th century. And he wrote this play so-called Humanity in Madness, or he planned to write it, but he never finished. And we did this kind of reconstruction or a dialogue around the idea of this play.
Thank you, Krzysztof. Thank you, Rébecca. So interesting, these works about reconstructing this place, this old place, but also to imagine how to work with technology in the field of expanded theater. So Billy, I would like that you could tell us more about the work of Culture Hub and how you have been developing these sort of works that are really related with technology and theater.
Sure. I guess to understand what Culture Hub is and how it came about is, I got involved, coming from theater and performance, and wound up at La Mama Experimental Theater Club in New York. And, for those of you that are not familiar with La Mama is the last of the original 4 off-Broadway theaters. Right, so it really is the last of the American avant-garde performing arts spaces that's still in existence, founded in 1961, and they've been collaborating with many different international artists and companies, and but one of their closest collaborators was the Seoul Institute of the Arts in Korea. And in 2009, the president of that institute wanted to explore this idea of using video conferencing technologies and the internet to create experimental work that was not situated in a single geography. And so that's really how we started Culture Hub, was sort of building on the international work that these 2 institutions had done in the past, but looking at the advancement of emerging technologies and what role that was going to play in creating new types of work in the future. So it really became very focused on this research and very focused on this specific technology, which we would call telepresence or telematics. It has other names, networked performance. Sometimes you'll hear hybrid performance. Really what that entailed was using large-scale video projection and devices that will transmit audio and video and data signals in milliseconds around the world. And the exploration became, how do we take these practices of performance and theater and liveness, and what types of work want to come out of this ability for us to span these distributed spaces. So that really is kind of foundational to where we came from. So our explorations with live video and internet broadcasting and bringing that into physical space is really continues to be what we pursue, you know. And so when we met Krzysztof, it became this very you know, natural connection, because he was digging into these similar ideas, right? How does emerging technology have this potential to kind of shift and expand what theater can be? You know, what can we do when we are able to reach and collaborate with people that we would otherwise not have access to? And so in particular, you know, Krzysztof was, I mean, when we met, was deeply investigating this idea of social VR. And that was something that we had been aware of and had light touches in, but then to meet an artist that was really, really deeply investigating that specific technology and what it meant for live performance was a really great learning experience for us. And so we were able to kind of combine these various skill sets and leverage some of the stuff that we had been doing more through 2D screens and networks, and combine that with this social VR elements and sort of bring those things together, I think, to create things that, yeah, it was like a learning environment, you know, where there was a lot of new ideas coming out. And I think of this work primarily as being performing systems, performative systems. And so the technology is often gets sort of boiled down into this very generic word, technology. But, you know, as we know, there are ancient technologies. There are technology is progressing at a rapidly faster and faster pace, and generally in the theater, there are many different technologies that are being explored simultaneously. And so those become a system that it can be performed. And I think there's a really interesting idea around tuning these systems and configuring these systems that relates back to the work of the theater and the experimental theater of La Mama, in the sense that it's often in a DIY context. So it's using things that are readily available, and open source tools, things that are designed for other purposes, and remixing them. And I say that because I know, like, I hope there'll be some young people out, young theater makers out there, and that they realize that, it's not about this high level technology so much as it is about configuring tool sets and things that you have access to. And I think this generation has just many more tools and access points and ways of leveraging these technologies in their creative practice than our generation did when we were starting out. Not that we're all in the same generation. I think I'm a little bit more advanced in age, but.
Thank you, Billy. I think that this field is really interesting, but in a way, like in Latin America and in Colombia in general, this field is not so well known, or is not like something that is in vogue right now, but it's something that we are trying to understand in a way. And like from the art, science, and technology space is also like this sort of idea of open spaces where we can interact and we can experiment with this sort of of projects and the field of expanded theater. So I would like, if it would be possible, that you go a little bit deeper about the challenges of working when you're thinking about theater and VR components at the same time. And in the other way, how do you think about dramaturgy when you are thinking about a virtual reality or a different reality and a real reality? How is like that connection made? This is for the three of you.
Yeah, I mean those technologies, those emerging technologies, they are they give some additional possibilities, and this is what is so interesting about them. There are, of course, many challenges connected to that. It somehow became clear for me from like a few years right now that it's very combined with the educational process. That it's the educational process is following this kind of explorations. It means education of the teams that we are collaborating with. I mean, Culture Hub is of course a very special place in the world where we can just freely exchange our ideas, and we have a common understanding of the field in general, but when you go to some let's say theaters, more let's say traditional theaters in Poland or in Europe, where we are mostly like spending our time, then it's a matter of working with the people that are there in those theaters, and working with their curiosity, because they are many times like a specialist for some kind of equipment, for some kind of technical tools, and we are bringing them this even more toys, let's say, that they can play with. So we are bringing the even like different kind of using projections or streaming or internet or virtual reality, or even right now AI, because we also play a lot with live processing of the image with AI. So this is also educational part. I also have students in the Warsaw Theatre Academy, and we try to collaborate with different art academies or universities around the world, and connect students for that in this field, in educational field. It's which is mainly like an experimental field, because students mostly experiment, so it's a good field to develop that and look for some new solutions. We are also like Billy said, we are using the accessible tools that are mostly free, and they have a lot of advantages, this kind of tools, because for example, for creating virtual environments and creating avatars and collaborating together, having this multiplayer possibilities. We since now still are using the VR chat. It's a game that everybody can download for free on a PC or headset. But also we are trying to develop our own application right now for like dedicated to this kind of performance, because like getting deeper there, you see that okay, VR chat is like really nice, but for example, maybe we could have a bit more control over avatars, like to that actor performer in each country could just have a like a better control over the avatar, or it could be even like a place that people can go directly if they are interested in such activities, because VR chat is just full of people that are using it for their own purposes. The performance, it's not like a main activity of that application. So looking for a way to create our own app is interesting, and it creates those like questions and answers, this loop of like creating process of like experimenting, like okay, so maybe we should have like another headset on the head of the actor, but maybe more facial control in the avatar, using some kind of different tools, so that could create like a possibility of blending different tools into one environment that could be really dedicated to that, and I mean, there's something in like this. It's some kind of new paradigm for people to connect and to perform together. There's there are many like even slight changes in the roles of the participants, different participants like directors, actors, dramaturgs, musicians, like suddenly people have some different options that they can explore. Like we can adjust like a lighting system on the stage in one place, but it can also control the lights in all the other stages that we are working with, or in this dramaturgical field that maybe Rébecca can say a bit more. It's also very interesting in this sense that like a first impulse to work on this in this field is this impulse is guided by the need of collaboration itself. Like the collaboration, it's in its core. Like all the technology follows this idea. Yeah. So we can by connecting with different places and different people, we can get to know their perspective better, and some ideas that we have on our stage might not match the ideas or the needs of the team somewhere else, so they can freely change some elements, and then we can look at their solutions, so we can adapt them in our places, so it creates a bit different dynamic. And just wanted to add in your question, it was this like a division of different realities, like a virtual reality, the material reality. I think in some way they are all blended together. That we are in some way very virtual beings, like our identity is somehow virtual. like the concept of me, I, like it's something virtual, like the perspective on the world we have, it's also shifting. So this collaboration, even if it's virtual, it's very real. Yeah. Dramaturgy.
I think that one really important thing with the dramaturgy for the virtual reality is the word dialogue. The dialogue is the clue of this dramaturgy. It's the relationship, as said Krzysztof, is the core of this dramaturgy. I can give, like, for example, the project Agora in Łódź that we made with South Korea. At that moment they lived this very important event in South Korea, political tension. And I asked each member of the project in South Korea to write a monologue about where they are, where they were at this moment, and this night where all shift, and what they felt also. Because Agora was the project about Plato, the Republic, adapted by Alain Badiou, French philosopher. But yes, so it was completely linked. The films were completely linked with the event in the reality. So here the virtual reality and the reality material were completely meeting at this very moment. And so it's also really important to understand that maybe this zone of virtual reality is a political zone. So it's at a moment it could be maybe the last free zone for expression and for meeting beyond our countries, beyond our boundaries. So it's a political zone, and it's also a zone of intimacy. When I'm thinking about the dramaturgy of this virtual zone, I'm also thinking about the actor and what he can express more than on the stage, like his dark zone of the mind, his unconscious zone. Yes, this virtual reality is maybe at the moment revealing maybe more than what we can reveal on stage, and this switch is interesting for the dramaturgy.
Just came to my mind when you were speaking, just one sentence, that about this project we did in this Polish city and South Korea, connecting the teams. It's kind of obvious sentence that we are living in a globalized world. Yeah, it's obvious, but then the big advantage of this creating this kind of global community for the theater, for this kind of network, like a framework of the network for virtual performance is like jumping into intimacy of this kind of events that are happening on the world, and they have impact on the rest of the world. Yeah, the thing that Rébecca is referring to, the events were this events surrounding the South Korean president and some kind of political crisis that was there, like he posted some martial law on the society, and then he was thrown out of the office and so on. But for the young actors that we collaborated that time, it was something that for us could be just like a headline in the news, that is just like passing, and we have another events. Every day new. Here we could suddenly reach that intimacy, yeah, of those events, and see that it has very strong emotional influence on their lives, and this is something just very interesting about networking part of it, because of course when we refer to virtual reality on the stage, it doesn't have to be like always networked. There are other parts of this process, like avatar creation and just I mean, the question about this topic of how we digitalized our lives nowadays, it's also very interesting on this field.
Thank you, Krzysztof. Thank you, Rébecca. Billy, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to kind of pop out some of those things, some things that stood out and have interesting symmetries across the work that we've been doing at Culture Hub. And I think right at the root of art making, there has to be a why, right? Like there has to be these guiding questions and what are we doing and what are we trying to do? And I think that part of this idea of network and making work through these collaborative processes that involve people that you might not otherwise come into contact with if it wasn't for the digitality, for the ability to port across these borders, is that it allows through that process for you to gather a greater understanding by being in contact with people that are having different experiences, that have different perspectives, that and then that informs you about yourself, right? You learn about yourself, and then you have the potential to become kind of a better global citizen, I think, because we're in this phase of I would say global crisis of moving towards autocracy and fascism, so how do we combat that, right? So like as artists, right, our mechanism is art, but underneath that medium is this desire, I think, a more fundamental and foundational human desire to kind of connect and understand and form meaning about why we're here. And so the thing about Dream Adoption Society's work and Culture Hub's work, where the one thing that really brings them together is this dedication to working in that context, in this highly internationalized context. And that's very intentional, and it allows the work to become something that it couldn't be if we were making work fully locally in a localized way. So going back to some of the challenges of then doing that, one of the first challenges that Culture Hub experienced is that when we started in 2009, the way that we were doing this is we were using these hardware systems that were designed for business conferencing, and they were very good at doing this one task of streaming high definition, low latent audio and video, but they were also closed systems that were designed for non-creative industries, right? And so while they did that job well, there were all of these assumptions that were built in that were not very conducive to the environments in which we were implementing them. So we had a lot of struggle. And one of the biggest things was cost. you know, because they were very expensive, like up to $30,000 for one box. And then they were not interoperable. So they were designed to work with you purchasing another box like that and putting it in another location and then connecting. And so we had this vision of what we were trying to do, which was, you know, very horizontal and all about inclusion and being able to have access to artists that we wouldn't otherwise have access to. And yet this box was designed in a capitalist mentality, which was to, oh no, we want to sell you more boxes, right? And so we had to grapple with that, and we found a lot of workarounds. And then ultimately that led us to developing our own tool. And so then that goes back to what Krzysztof was saying, is this idea of the artist-led technology. So we're, part of our work is being critical of technology, actually, and thinking about technologies that are humane technologies that are amplifications of our humanity rather than technologies that diminish or extract, you know, our data, our information, our money, our attention, right? And so the reason why the technologies that we're most often interfacing are doing those things is because there are large corporations that have a vested interest in, you know, those purposes. But if you're looking at the open source community, where we've taken a lot of inspiration, open source software community in particular, then you're looking at this idea of like, how can we be stronger and better together? How can we develop things that are more robust because of the collaboration? And how can we create things that are, you know, have meaning to, you know, specific maybe more niche communities, right? Instead of just like this blanket wash. So like this tool, like the idea of creating something that would be akin to, you know, VR chat, but would be designed specifically for artists trying to create work in that context, would be very, very compelling. And it would also become very, very challenging, you know, because then you have to maintain that, and you have to update it, and you have to create infrastructure, and you have to raise funding to do it. But I think that this is the way that the world is moving, is that, you know, we've developed, for example, a tool that's an interactive live streaming platform, Cultural Broadcaster, and it was developed by one developer, a single developer, you know, in collaboration with our team at Culture Hub and artists that we work with. But, you know, that's incredible that that's even possible. So it is possible for artist-led projects, artist-led technology projects to kind of move into the future.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Krzysztof and Rébecca. I think that in a way you were like going to my next question, that is going to be about like the future of this field. But I think that in a way you already answered it, because I think that about the challenges and the possibility of this kind of projects give about the expanded theater, in a way, as you tell us, is like conceiving the technology and the field of VR theater, of the VR components, also as a political field, no? And the possibility that in this sort of contest, there's like this component of transdisciplinarity, where artists work with another persons that come from another disciplines, not only actors, not only dramaturgists, but also developers, as you already tell us. And so I think that in a way, as you were telling, we could conceive that the future of this sort of projects will be like where the same artists and working with another developers, another person that maybe are more connected with technological science and these sort of things, will develop another platforms and another sort of technological tools that will be possible to to create another place this way. But I have another, like the last questions, so we can conclude this interesting conversation. Is that we are thinking and we are talking about these sort of projects that make possible the creation of networks and creation of community, but which one is the role of the public when they are part of this place or these projects that are like connecting this field of reality, like traditional theater, with this sort of more technological and futuristic theater that is more connected with this notion of expansion.
Yeah, maybe I will start then. I mean, the audience has more possibilities in some way, like in this field. These are mostly hybrid performances, so-called hybrid. I mean, in this sense, it involves many perspectives. I mean. Of also viewing the projects. Yeah, you can watch them in the location, but the locations. I mean, it also indicates the like the impossibility of having this one point of view, you know, which is I guess also very political statement that there is not one narration that we are trying to sell to people and involve them into just one understanding of the world, but open them into many perspectives. So people in Kazakhstan, in Ukraine, in Poland, in US, in New York, they can watch the events locally and they can have this experience. They see other participants, also other audiences through video streamings. They can jump into VR using the VR technology and they can meet and watch the performance from inside of the virtual environment. There are also people there. I would say that this virtual audience is always very surprising because they also appear as some kind of avatars. Yes, also like a big banana or some like a fairy tale characters are just roaming around our avatars. So the mix is very. Very like wide spectrum of characters involved, and I think this is something for the audience that is very very interesting and also the it's very interesting also for the collaborators. I started to wonder what would it be where all of the people that are entering our experiences are creators in some way. I mean, or kind of supporters, you know, of course there are those I would say like cliches about a immersion and embodiment and choices that you can make your own choices and the performance will change according to your choices. This is also happening in some way, but for us it's very interesting that also as you mentioned we work with like a, let's say, larger group of people involved in those projects. Yeah, like it's not only involving actors and set designers and musicians who are creating like a local theater performance, but it also involves digital artists, you know, programmers and technicians of different fields, you know, some like little technological gimmicks, you know, that we can include there, and they are creators of this. So This not only on participating but co-creating of those events.
And the public, the spectator is always co-creating a show. I mean, a show doesn't exist without the spectator. So, and I think it's also to participate, to come to see a show is also a political act. Is a new kind of citizen to when you are participating also to those shows of digital performance network, because it's based on a certain vision of the world community. So when a spectator is coming, he's a part of this community, and he's participating in kind of political thinking also. And Krzysztof said about the virtual public, and it's also important because for me it's a reflection about opening theaters to other kind of people, because of the price of the theaters. When you have to buy a ticket, it could be really hard to afford that. And also some people are ashamed to come to theater because it's not a place for them. They felt it. So I think it's really interesting to think about those new kind of participation to the shows, and it's also political. So
in this way, this temporary autonomous zone is like somehow created. Yeah, this concept of hacking bay, old anarchistic concept, is like coming to life again in a digital form.
And to conclude also that yes, for the public it could be demanding because it's like a kind of gymnastic of brain and eyes to see those shows, because you have this level of the stage and also the level of the virtual stage, the ecran and the screen, and you have to also project, and it's very physical for me. You have also to kind of find some empathy with the actor, in the sense where you kind of project your body to this virtual virtual zone. So it's really like the brain is completely flexible in those different levels of reality.
Yeah, I mean, I would just again, just jumping off of what you guys are saying, you know, this idea of multiple audiences. Like, there's never really in this type of work a singular audience in the way that you would think about it in a traditional performance setting. You know, you're always having to consider the multiplicity of audiences. And there's, in a way, a shared set of media resources that then have to get kind of brought out and leveraged to and shared in different ways to these different audiences. So, you know, in the example of the second iteration of Books of Jacob, where we had, what, 5, 6 different locations, I think all but one of those had physical audiences. And then the audiences in New York could kind of go between watching as a theater goer or being in VR and actually in the digital environment, and then that was being live streamed, you know, and then you start to add these layers of AI as is happening in some of the other projects. And then you could also make a decision to then go and experience the show from one of those other perspectives, right? So I think that's a really interesting, I'm going to take that away with me, this idea that it is almost a central value to create these, an inability to look at the whole, from a singular point. You have to look at it from all of these different angles, right? Like that's like conceptually is really, really interesting. Yeah. And I think it's true. I mean, I know that your question was about the audience, but I also think it's really interesting as a performer, as someone who has performed inside of that context, that you start, the thing that I came away with from that experience of being an actor or performing in VR, but also being physically on stage and having to think some about that as well, is a kind of a transcendent experience, like it's the fact of all of these things existing at once that in a way elevates you to a different kind of plane. And then that is a curiosity of then what can be expressed through that plane, through this altered state of being. And I think that if you look at more ancient performative practice, that there was that idea of kind of ritual and trying to, and ritual, like this always stands out. It's the one thing I learned in theater history is the difference, at least, and we could argue this point, I suppose, but is the difference between theater and ritual is that in a ritual, everyone is participating, right? And you don't have the passive viewer. A ritual, everyone is there and collectively contributing. And I think theater is that on some level. As Rébecca was saying, it's like we can't have theater without the audience there, without their laughter, without their gasp, without their attention. But this, as you create these really complex layers, it creates a really interesting experience for the audience where they are constantly editing, and through that, it's an activation of their imagination, right? It's they're filling in the gaps. They can't see the whole, and then their mind is activated to fill in the gaps. And so I know we probably have to wrap this up, and I'm talking too long, but I think it's really exciting stuff, and I look forward to seeing this this work continue, and I look forward to younger people getting involved with it and feeling like there is an opening for them to get involved with it, and that sometimes technology feels like there's this barrier because I don't have all of the tools that I need. But I would say that, you can start small with what you have and start to experiment out there. And we need spaces, that can help foster this, because the way that this work can grow is by providing access and an ecosystem of support where people can, really be invited in to express through their own individuality, their own cultural perspective, and their own communal perspectives.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Krzysztof and Rébecca. This was a really interesting conversation. You let us know a little bit more about working in this field of expanded theater and immersive dramaturgies. So, in a way, I also want to thank you for all the work that you have been done in this interaction that we have been done during this year with the workshop of Agora, and also with the help of Billy and giving some lessons and some class in the workshop. And I wanted also to invite the public that is in Bogota and that is hearing this conversation today to be part of the performance that we are going to do the 17th of October at 7:30 p.m. in the dome of the planetarium, because it's going to be a sort of example of what we have been talking today about how to work with technology to VR, how you connect with the public, how you create network. And how do you have avatars and performers at the same time in the same space? So thank you very much. I hope that we will meet again in another conversation so interested as this one.
Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Billy.